Divorce, not the Hollywood gossip kind, but the real, gritty reality that so many people face when marriages end and assets have to be split. You might think you know how it works. Maybe you've watched movies or read a few articles online. But today, I'm breaking down 5 things that almost nobody tells you about splitting assets in a divorce. Some of these might surprise you. Others might save you from financial ruin. And if you're someone contemplating divorce or already going through it, this might just be the wake-up call you need. Let's start with the first thing nobody really tells you. Equitable distribution doesn't always mean equal. Yeah, let that sink in. Most people walk into their lawyer's office thinking, okay, if we get divorced, everything gets split right down the middle, 50-50, clean and simple. But in reality, equitable distribution means fair, not necessarily equal. That's the legal standard in most states that follow equitable distribution. The court looks at factors like the length of the marriage, each spouse's income and earning potential, contributions made by each spouse, and even the health and age of each person. For example, if one spouse sacrificed their career to stay home and raise the kids, while the other advanced their career, the court may decide it's fair to give more to the spouse who gave up earning potential. It's not a simple calculator that cuts everything in half. Second, and this is a big one, separate property can become marital property if you're not careful. Let's say you owned a house before you got married. That's your separate property, right? Technically, yes, but if you refinanced it during your marriage and added your spouse's name to the deed, or if marital money was used to renovate it significantly, that house could now be considered marital property, or at least partly marital. Or if you inherited money, but then deposited it into a joint account and used it to pay for everyday expenses or big purchases together, that inheritance might lose its protected status as separate property. Lawyers see this mistake all the time, and clients are shocked when they realize assets they thought were untouchable end up in the pot for division. Number 3, debt is split too. People spend so much time arguing about who gets the house, the car, the retirement accounts, but they forget that debt is divided just like assets. So that joint credit card balance with $10,000 on it, you're probably going to be responsible for half, unless you can prove that your spouse racked it up solely for their benefit. That student loan your spouse took out during the marriage might also be on the table, depending on the state you live in and whether it was used for family expenses. Divorce isn't just about splitting the good stuff, it's about dividing the burdens too. Fourth, your retirement accounts are likely marital property. I can't tell you how many clients sit in my office with eyes wide open when I explain that their 401k, their pension, their IRA contributions made during the marriage, even if the account is only in their name, are subject to division. And if you have a pension, that future income stream might be partially allocated to your spouse through a qualified domestic relations order or QDRO. That's a separate court order that splits retirement benefits. So don't think that just because you worked hard for your retirement savings, you automatically get to keep them all. Divorce courts consider them part of the marital pot. And finally, number 5, the emotional value of assets is often overlooked until it's too late. Let me explain. Let's say you really want to keep the house because you've raised your kids there, you're emotionally attached to it. But if you fight to keep the house without realistically calculating if you can afford the mortgage, taxes, insurance, maintenance, and future repairs on a single income, you might be setting yourself up for financial disaster. Lawyers often wish their clients would think about the practical side of asset division instead of only the emotional side. The same goes for cars, vacation properties, or even pets. The court's job is to split assets fairly, not to protect your emotional attachment. That's why it's critical to work with financial planners or divorce financial specialists who can show you what keeping certain assets actually looks like for your post-divorce life. Beyond these 5 points, let me share something else lawyers wish every divorcing client knew. Divorce is not just a legal process. It's an emotional and financial negotiation. The assets you fight for today might cost you thousands in legal fees that far exceed their value. Many people spend $20,000 fighting over a dining room set worth $2,000 simply because they want to win. But in divorce, winning isn't as clear-cut as you think. Winning often means getting out with your sanity, your dignity, and your future financial security intact. Another hidden pitfall is that people forget about taxes. If you're getting half of your spouse's retirement account, that doesn't mean you're getting it tax-free. The tax consequences of receiving certain assets can make them worth significantly less than their face value. Likewise, selling the marital home might trigger capital gains taxes depending on how much profit you make and how the sale is structured. These tax issues should be discussed with your lawyer or financial advisor before you sign on any dotted lines. Something else few people tell you is that transparency is key. If you try to hide assets, even if you think you're being clever, the penalties can be severe. Courts don't take kindly to hidden offshore accounts, secret cash stashes, or mysteriously disappearing valuables. If your deception is discovered, you could lose credibility in the entire case, and the judge may award a larger share to your spouse as a penalty. Honesty truly is the best policy when it comes to asset disclosure. Let's not forget about legal fees themselves. Divorce is expensive. Lawyers charge by the hour, and every phone call, every email, every court appearance adds up. Many people walk into divorce proceedings thinking it'll cost a few $1,000s, and they walk out tens of thousands poorer. If you and your spouse can agree on major points through mediation or negotiation, you can save enormous amounts of money that would otherwise go straight to attorney fees. At the end of the day, splitting assets in divorce is rarely simple. There are emotional ties, financial realities, tax considerations, and legal complexities that all weave together into a messy, often painful process. But knowing these 5 hidden truths can better prepare you for what's coming and give you a clearer head when making decisions that will impact the rest of your life. Keep in mind that the information contained in this video is for informational purposes only and should not be considered legal advice. If you found this video helpful, or if you're going through divorce and want more real talk about how the legal system actually works, make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Share this with a friend or family member who might need it right now. Until next time, stay informed, stay empowered, and remember, Due Process Daily is here to break down the law for your real life.